Right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking science and technology today. We've got Minister Naledi Pandor talking to us about what she's going to do with her budget and her hopes for the science and technology arena for South Africa. And we've been getting questions from you via Twitter at Morning Live SABC, hashtag TNABizBrief, and also audience here as well. In fact, we go to table number 14 and we're going to find Dr. Michael Grant there who has a question.
Thank you very much. It's more of a comment, and I have the privilege of working with some of the brightest minds in Transnet at the Innovation Center in Pretoria. And just to fill you in on some of the stuff we're doing, we've actually just in discussions around a MOU with the DST on integrating fuel cell technology into our systems. And it is such a wonderful opportunity to sort of provide benefication to South Africa and the rest of Africa. And I just wanted to bring this to the attention of the audience. Thank you.
All right, whilst you're there, I'm just wondering, the role that companies like Transnet and the private sector, Minister says that government must lead the way, but can private sector also lead the way in some way?
Absolutely. So you've got folk who have this view on innovation and science technology from a strategic perspective, and that's really, in my understanding, that of the DST. And then you have the guys at the coalface, so to speak, where the innovation has immediate commercial value. And so you have this connection, this partnership. Without that, you won't have success.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. There's some very young people who are not PhD students wearing school uniform. I'm not sure which table it is over here. And can you get a microphone to them? And let's just hear. All right. So can one of you stand up? And I just want to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, how old are you and which school are you at?
Good morning. I'm Kamukhela Moshwani, and we are matric learners from Gamoso Secondary School.
All right. Is science something that's being encouraged a lot at school, and you're finding students are wanting to take it up?
Yes.
Are you going to be a scientist?
Yes, I actually am doing sciences, and I'm hoping to do biomedical sciences next year onwards.
All right. And your fellow students, because you must be quite one of the bright ones at school, are they, especially female learners as well, because traditionally, boys have been the ones that have been pushed through. Are they starting to study sciences more as well?
Well, it's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Because actually, most of them, they are not into sciences and studying, but I just encourage them and motivate them to do sciences, and actually, I'm the top learner especially in girls.
Right.
I'm the one who leads them. And
that's good to know. What do we need to do? Do you think parents need to encourage more? Teachers need to do more? What do we need to do to make sure that more young people like you are coming through?
Well, teachers are trying so hard, to encourage them and all that. I think it is the parents who need to do their role as well, because many parents don't play a role, especially when it comes to their learners and school, because they don't even ask them maybe whether they have homeworks or not. So I think they are the ones who need to play a role as well, because the teachers they play quite a big role in our education, because they're always there for us. They even give us opportunities. Yeah.
Right. Okay. There's a young man next to you who wants to speak. Stand up and say your name and share your thoughts with us.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Tabam Timkulu. From your question, I would like everybody to know that we lack resources. That's what we need. So if you have resources, I think that's where we will able to go into science deeply, and we can able to express ourselves and bring some ideas.
When you say resources, what are you saying? Labs, equipment? Is that what you need to do?
Especially lab apparatus, because that's where we have a little problem. Some doing experiments in the school, so we can't because we don't have some apparatus.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, Minister, that is a big one, isn't it? And I know when you were wearing your education hat, that was something that was important to you.
Yes, one of the things that distressed us, of course, Bukamus is a very good school that does very well, but one of the distressing facts of our reality is that many of our schools do not have laboratories, many more do not have libraries. We are, as government, working to redress this. Minister Muchecha has a very vibrant infrastructure program directed at ensuring these basic facilities are available in every school. And in terms of the norms she has mapped out for education as part of the regulatory framework, basic library, laboratories, media resource center. So it's very good that we've now put this in a framework that says any school we build in South Africa must have these basics.
And I suppose it's a welcome development. We were doing a story yesterday. Pretoria, certain schools and areas are getting free Wi-Fi now, and that's really the giant steps that need to be taken.
And that step has been supported by the municipality. So I hope other municipalities will follow suit, because we should be like other countries where Wi-Fi should just be very widely accessible.
All right, okay, let's go to table 15. We'll come to table 2 again. Tabang is on table 15.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the opportunity. I work for the Department of Science and Technology. One of the critical things that you said was we always let our IP go out and it comes back as finished products, which we pay heavily for. One of our dreams at the department, especially at NIPMO, is ensuring that IP is understood from basic levels. I just want to kindly ask the Minister as to what can you do or how can you assist us to ensure that IP topics are part of the school curriculum, especially at primary school level. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Tabang. IP, what is that?
Intellectual property.
Ah, there we go.
I think what we need to do, Tabang, is really draw on the work that Dr. Matutu, her team, and SASTA do, and ensure that we educate our society on all these themes so that young scientists understand that the knowledge they produce is knowledge that they must sanction through patenting it, through owning the intellectual property, so that it's not taken up by someone else. Often what happens, our scientists go to an international conference, present on their research there, and because they haven't taken these steps to protect it, someone else takes up, uses it, develops the commercial product outside South Africa, and then uses it as their own product. Science is very intriguing in that it has a lot of clever people, but it's got a lot of people who take the ideas of other people as well. That's part of its character. So we really have to ensure that we protect the knowledge that we've created and develop it for the advance of South Africa or the African continent, or in fact, the global community, as a South African has done with the creepy crawly, for example.
So, Minister, you mentioned Korea earlier on, and I'm just wondering, why is it some countries were able to move quite quickly? What are the things that they did that helped them accelerate quite quickly? And you look at a country like Japan, they don't have platinum, they don't have even agricultural land, really. They don't have much, but, you know, their cars are everywhere, their technology is everywhere. And they did that quite quickly after World War II. What can we learn from some of these countries, the Singapores, the Koreas, and the Japans?
Well, the first thing that they realized is this is everything. Because they don't have those natural resources. They didn't dig up and export, which we are doing. We have these natural resources. We're not adding value to them. We're just shipping them out. We've got to stop that and use this much more. Because they realized that your intellect is actually the resource for wealth, for development. That's what the NDP says. And I think that's what we want to entrench in the country.
So
they invested in education, they invested in technology education, they created technicians, but then they also invested in locally based corporations that would take up the technology and develop it to the end point, and then ensure that it's a quality product that you're sending out. Government began a lot of the initiatives, as has already been said over there, but we've now got to a point where we need to look at different areas. So we are saying, let's look at the pharmaceutical industry. We have a huge burden of HIV in South Africa. Why are we not producing ARVs? Why don't we have a pharmaceutical plant in this country? A locally owned, state-supported pharmaceutical plant that could then be hived off into a fully fledged business.
All right, so is this a conversation we should be having with Minister Nene then, that perhaps we're not giving enough resources and priority to these game changers, and that maybe your department should be getting double what it's got at the moment, education should be given double what it's got in the moment, and maybe spend less on defense?
Well, I do think, well, I don't know about that, because if matters changed in the world, I wouldn't want us to be defenseless.
Okay.
So, we must invest appropriately. But I do think we need to look at areas that may not be giving value to the country. I do think we need to invest more in science and human capital. I also think we need to coordinate better, because there are departments that have been given some funding for research and innovation, but I'm not sure it's being used for that purpose. There are departments such as trade and industry that have a massive role to play in IP protection and promotion, and also in manufacturing and industrialization. And I think if they would realize that what we're doing, and they are doing so now, that what we're doing is worth investing in, then I think we'll take many steps forward. But undeniably, we need to invest more. 6 billion in a country that wants to be a leader in research development is just ridiculous.
Okay, all right, let's hope they've heard you. Table number 2, Ruben Dlamini.
Morning, Minister and the audience. My name has already been said. I come from an organization called the Ruben Dlamini Foundation. We have identified a big gap, especially in the rural areas. Kids who come from those areas, some of our people have also emphasized on the fact that that is where most of the time technology reaches last, if it does. Issues of laboratories, computer laboratories, issues of technology, and issues of innovation out there. And we've realized that some of our great leaders come from such rural areas. I don't want to mention any names, we all know that. And one of the things that we are doing currently, we are busy with the learning center in Mkondo, Piet Retief. We've already spoken to a few other people, including the Japanese, who have promised to help us to set up a learning science and technology learning center there. We are engaged in discussions with the municipality, the Department of Education. Currently, we are also participating in the Science Week. We were one of those people who won to participate there, and we are very, very grateful for that. As I talk to you, Minister, right now, we have partnered with one company that is in technology. As from last week, Thursday, they started connecting one school in the Mkondo area called Sinetemba High School. This particular school had computers, They were not connected to the internet. We facilitated that arrangement. We got that sponsor. They are connecting as I talk to you. And very, very soon we would be commissioning that work. And we really would like to invite the department to come and be part of that commissioning, because if we can connect these young people, they can be exposed to the type of research that is required, access all the information, and that is, for us and the country, very important. Now, my question is, for organizations like ours, Minister, what is the type of practical support that you have for our initiatives? We are a group of business people. We are a group of professionals who have seen a need in our communities, and we are trying to do something about it. What is it that the department, through your leadership, Minister, is doing to support such a private initiative, if I may call it? Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, there are many private sector companies with which we have partnerships, but we cannot have a partnership emerging in a breakfast like this. What you need to do is take the card of Dr. Matutu back there, and she, given her responsibility for our Youth into Science strategy, would be able to give you some sense of what we're doing. We've had very successful initiatives in using wireless mesh for connecting schools in Mpumalanga. We're now looking at moving into other provinces. So it would be intriguing to know why we missed Sinetemba, for example. But I think talk to Dr. Matutu and explore with her how we could partner.
Okay, let's go to table 19. I hope I can read your writing here, but your first name is very powerful at the moment, Israel, with us as well.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning to Honorable Minister. My name is Israel Mudisautile, and I'm the chairman of RICOP Youth Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have, as a chamber, Honorable Minister, formed partnership with BMW South Africa, whose beautiful cars adorn our beautiful roads. The partnership was geared towards assisting our young people from universities, those who are graduating, doing their final years and all that. Because part of the problem that we realized was that the industry is not able to absorb young people with their skills from universities and all that. So the partnership then is comprised of a great number of other partners that contribute skills that help young people to be employable. So now what we would like to ask from yourself, Honorable Minister, is that could we have a situation where we could, because that is one of the things that we have organized with BMW South Africa, to have top young minds in universities across the Republic that are doing well. We are organizing a visit with them for them to see how technology is best put in use to preserve life, to create employment, to create joy and sheer driving pleasure in this wonderful cars. So what we are trying to do to really request from you, Honorable Minister, is to see if we could have a partnership with yourself and really mobilize the resources, because our centers really that we are having, that we are running, one such is in Randburg, the other one is in Taung. We are planning to have one more in the Free State. The challenge that we are having is that the people, young people are coming in their great numbers to us, and our resources are really depleted. As we stand right now, we do not really have resources to take the program forward, because what it does, it is enabling and nourishing entrepreneurship amongst young people. We would like also to ask Honorable Minister if you could assist us by endorsing us as a chamber from your department, and also be our patron to assist us to bring resources. Resources shall not only be money, but it could also be computers to equip these centers that we are having around the Republic. I thank you very much.
I think you probably need Dr. Card as well. But I don't know if there's anything that you want to just sort of comment on what he said.
Well, I'd like to congratulate both the foundation as well as the chamber for the initiatives that they've begun. These are very important, and this is what our country needs. We need entrepreneurs in development as well. And I think civil society has a very important role to play in assisting us to advance the kinds of programs we would like to see develop in South Africa. So thank you very much to both of you for the work that you're doing. I would want to encourage you, while you talk to us, to press your foot a bit harder on the private sector, because the private sector should be investing in the future, because those young people will primarily be absorbed in that sector. And really, I think in terms of skills development in South Africa, our private sector is not yet where it should be in terms of investment. So I would say don't look only to government, look to the private sector as well, and provincial governments, by the way, as well as municipalities. There are a host of resources. All our municipalities are supposed to have a youth desk. Every province has a youth office located in the Premier's office. So we should be linking up with all these offices to ensure that they provide the support that we need in different provinces and help us to achieve our objectives. Where we can, we will assist, but as you know, we only have 6 billion, shame, you know. And so we really have to partner with many other institutions. But I was intrigued as I heard your name. I was thinking, batsadi ba gago ne ba itumetse thata ga o tsala. Ba go file leina le letona thata.
All right, table number 4, Jeff Beck. Interesting question. We often talk about science and the arts. What if when science also is an art? Jeff?
Thank you. I have to preface this question by saying that I'm a theoretical physicist, and sometimes it seems that too much emphasis is placed on innovation that can be immediately commercialized, whereas science is truly led by people doing fundamental research which may have no value in our lifetime and may only have commercial or productive value in 100, maybe 200 years. And as it was a comment more than a question, in that the department does seem to emphasize a drive towards commercial science, which is really the end of the conga line of science and not the head.
All right, so how do you help artists like him who are exploring science for the future?
Yes. Well, I think we should ensure that we invest in all disciplines. And I think the basic sciences are absolutely imperative. We have stressed this in my budget speech, that we're going to be paying far more attention to the basic sciences. We're working with the Institute for Theoretical Physics, as well as the South African Physics Society. They've done very interesting work that identified a decline in young people taking up physics because our funding was being steered elsewhere. So we are coming back into the basic sciences and ensuring that we don't neglect that aspect. But you always have a conundrum, because if you de-emphasize one, it's at the cost of another. And so you try and ensure that when you're messaging, you message as broadly as you can. Sometimes people hear one voice and not the other. You know, people are always accusing me of being more interested in maths than history or languages, but I believe all are important. I think the humanities are as important as the natural sciences. In fact, if we had more humanities, we'd have more humane leaders in the world, instead of the killing and massacres that we're seeing today. So all sciences are of great value in a transforming society such as this one. Social science and humanities are absolutely key. And I do know some theoretical physicists who've become jazz musicians, and I've always been fascinated by why. So.
Okay. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the last sort of few minutes of this conversation. So stay with us for that, and we'll start wrapping things up around science and technology with Minister Naledi Pandor.